15th season of such. My compadre from the NFL Network and NFL Media Group, Andrew Siciliano, 15 years.
Yeah.
Now, when you first did it, because again, NFL Network is turning 16 this year. Okay.
Yeah.
So we were on the air for 1 year. You come on next, and was the host. People at the time thinking, what? It's been on for 25 years. But what would you hear generally from people 15 years ago?
I don't know who was watching it, honestly, the first year. The first year, David Hill, who was then at Fox and at DirecTV, had this idea. They had the contract with the league to do it, but it was supposed to be the following season.
Okay.
And David said, I'm coming on, and I'm doing it with Fox this year. So we're putting on the Fox games now. CBS said, no, we signed up for next year.
Right.
So you can't show our games live. So the first year, we could only show Fox games live. It didn't get a lot of promotion. It wasn't in high def. Most stuff wasn't then, but it had just started. Like Fox was doing high def games, CBS not yet. There were times where there might only be 3 games at 1 Eastern that we could show, or the other way around. You could have like 6 games at 1 and maybe only 1 game at 4.
Right.
So I don't know that the product was even that good at first, but we eventually got there. We didn't invent America's short attention span,
right?
But we kind of came around right around the time where no one can focus on anything
for more than 3, 4, or 5 minutes at a time. And then there's nothing like when 4 or 5 games are coming right down to it with 2 minutes to go.
And then you have the late ones beginning as well. You get that 15. Well, they've pushed the late window back a little bit now.
Right.
But that is by far the best time.
Do you and Scott Hansen meet anywhere sort of with nunchucks like the end of Anchorman?
We have never done that.
Do you want to do that?
No.
It's the weekend.
If I could mention another show, Le Batard had us on.
I know that.
Yeah, and he tried to get us to fight. He no.
Scott Hansen is a lover, man. He's not a fighter.
They tried to get us to fight. It did not happen. We pass in the hallway at NFL Network every now and then, right? And there's the nod and the fist bump because, Scott's not a big handshake, touch the doorknob kind of guy. So there's the fist bump kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's all mutual respect. We still, every Sunday, though, he and I will both get tweets and texts and some positive, some negative. I can't believe you just said that. Am I one me? And vice versa. Or I can't believe you missed that touchdown. Like, wasn't me.
Wasn't you.
Or we get because there are 2, and still to this day, all these years later, people don't realize there are 2 different shows, 2 different products. You get the, dude, I can't believe you quit. Or, how did you you're sick?
Yeah.
How do you take the day off? And we both will, I don't think either of us respond anymore.
Right.
But it would be, no, you just went to your buddy's house, and your buddy gets the other one. What do you mean there's another one?
Crazy.
They don't get it.
I know. So now do you think there's anyone today waking up and complaining to their quarterback, why'd you quit, thinking that he was Andrew Luck?
Absolutely they are. Of course they are.
What'd you think of Andrew Luck, Andrew?
So the initial reaction I think we all had was like, you got to be kidding me. This is a fake Schefter account.
Right.
I was on the air doing the Rams game here with Mina Kimes and Nate Burleson. We're in the press box.
You're on there live, right?
Yeah, we're on live. It's the first quarter. It's 6:26, whatever it was, local time here.
Rams Broncos.
Rams Broncos. Nobody is playing. You're trying to come up with storylines already, even in the first quarter.
Right.
And our head of broadcasting, Jory Hirsch, texts me, Luck retired, 2 words. And you stare at it a few times. Luck.
Retired.
Wait, Luck. So then I switched to Twitter, and I see it immediately. And then I had the same reaction. This has to be a fake Schefter account. Or he got hacked. But then you see he had already been following it up with another tweet, and I needed them to know, my partner's next to me, but they have open headsets. And I was legitimately concerned that if I hold the phone up, and they read it,
I know,
they might go, holy.
Yeah, right, I know.
And so I did this. I put my finger over my lips.
Right.
And I held it up to the 2 of them. And to see their eyes go across back and forth the screen, and then they just went.
I know, right. The thing I couldn't believe is I was, doing my best to pay attention to my wife and children with whom I was having dinner at the
Right,
moment.
2 weeks to go before the
trying to be
season.
present. Just
Yes,
try to be present.
right.
Yeah, I
Put the
texted
phone
you
down.
immediately.
Be here.
And then the game day morning crew starts texting each other, and Kurt can't believe it, and Mooch can't believe it, and we're all just in disbelief. I did notice that Luck was on the sideline during the game that was going on at the moment.
I didn't even realize they were playing.
I couldn't believe it. And I'm like suddenly wondering, so wait a minute. The report was he's going to tell his teammates today or after the game and then have a press conference Sunday. And then he's having a press conference within an hour all of a sudden because it seems like all the plans changed. And it was just an unfortunate turn of events that that's the way that Luck leaves the game.
Yeah.
Shock and surprise, difficulty in shaping the message, gets booed by a large proportion of the fans that he has delighted through his 7 years, and then has a press conference on the spot. That was really weird. What a weird, wild Saturday night.
He was going to be a sympathetic figure, I think, to many. Not all, obviously, but to many, regardless. The idea, though, that, and I'm not blaming Adam. Adam had the story. Adam had to go with the story.
How could he not?
But if you see the beginning of that 24-minute presser, when he walks out there, he kind of mumbles something like, this is not what I
wanted, right?
Wanted, or this is not what I had prepared for.
Right.
And I wonder if he was probably going to wake up Sunday morning with that cup of coffee and sit down and write something really thoughtful, because that's who he is, right? And I think he had some of his notes, maybe. I couldn't tell if he was reading off his phone, at least at the beginning, but then he just riffed. And it was one of the most human, open, and raw moments I think we have seen in a long time from any athlete on a podium. And if you truly watched all of that and tried to see him as a human, which I know for some fans is difficult, not all fans, but some, then I don't know how you can be mad at him. You'd be upset with the timing, maybe. I get that. But just listen and see the look on his face. You got to walk away and say, dude, good for you.
Gave his body
Good
up
for
for
you.
7 years.
Yeah.
He left. Look, his next contract would have been massive. Because by the time he'd signed it, Mahomes would have signed. I mean, the number of
been
people
$200
that would have
million
kept
man.
Right. It could have
35 a year minimum.
And then his next contract would have been up when he was 36, 37. He could have kept going and going, made a ton of money, but clearly his body wasn't willing to go along with it. And then the diamond in between his temples is something that I know this is coming next April and next March. The concept of people who are too smart, good, solid bets in the draft. That's
We've
coming.
already.
We've heard that stuff, and to
Do
me,
you
I
really love football?
Oh, that drives me nuts. It drives me nuts that it's going to be, well, he's just 29 years old. He's just too much of a thinker. He's got a book club. You know, he uses words like Luddite. That's why. That's why he has retired, because he thinks too much. You need just somebody who is just turns part of his brain off enough to be able to play football. And we're going to hear it. And that's going to really piss me off from this whole thing.
He heard it when he came out of Stanford. How dare he go back to school to focus on learning his senior year? How dare he actually want to finish his degree his senior year? I mean, he was, I hate the cliche, outside the box, but he did it differently then. Like, Matt Leinart went back for his senior year, and his dad, I think, eventually kind of said, Matt's just like college too much. That was his reason. Andrew loved college. I mean, he didn't want to be on TV. He wanted to be the guy that rode his bike to class and dove into his books. He wanted to be the book club guy. And that's kind of why, I thought if he were to quit early, it would be, hey, I got a concussion. I don't want to do this anymore. The idea that he's leaving with a lower leg injury, I think that's what's hard for a lot of fans. Well, dude, just give it a couple of more weeks.
I know.
You'll be fine.
Apparently that.
Give it a month.
And Peter King's,
You'll be fine.
Peter King's going to join me top of the next hour. That's part of what he was his reporting in his Football Morning in America is the Colts attempted to spend part of last week to say, look, let's just put you on IR. Let's see how it goes. Andrew Siciliano here on the Rich Eisen Show from Red Zone here on DirecTV and NFL Network. And, the issue is that he just didn't feel he could make it through another situation of dealing with pain and rehab and the not knowing, and he's already drained and miserable, and why not live life? I bet you when you said Sunday morning you wanted to wake up, have a cup of coffee, write something out, or fine-tune what he has written out to prepare and retire, and the fact that he didn't get to do it Saturday night because he couldn't do it on Sunday because he had to do it on Saturday night, maybe really disappointed him. But I bet you he woke up Sunday morning with the weight of the world off his shoulders.
Absolutely.
That and I'm trying to give this to so many fans who are disappointed that maybe their Super Bowl season is gone, because that is what is generally important to the fan. Certainly one that has put thousands of dollars into a public seat license, et cetera, and so forth. I understand that, but he probably woke up Sunday morning, weight of the world off his shoulders, hoping that the worst part of this is over. Now go live your life with your new wife, go travel the world and see what's next.
Exactly. Live the life that Stanford degree affords you. That diamond, as you said, between your ears affords you. If you go back, two things. Zach Kiefer, the writer in Indianapolis, had that tweet that probably got like 40,000 retweets on Saturday night with the list of all his injuries.
Yes,
the
I saw
cartilage, the internal injuries, the shoulder, all the operations. Take that into account, and then hosting Up to the Minute Now NFL Now on NFL Network. We're changing names again. The last couple of years, and really fronting and watching every single one of his pressers as he went through all this process. There were a couple of moments where, I don't want to say it got dark, but you could see over the last year and a half where when he really, really opened up about the process of coming back, of missing that entire season, about like going through these treatments in Europe, about which he was very evasive, right? About living in Europe with his then girlfriend, now wife, and getting away from it all, and the privacy he had there, and how much he doubted himself. And that little comment about Jacoby Brissett during Saturday's presser, where he said, I came back and I resented this guy. You could see, now he loves him, he's a friend for life, he said, but you could see these little signs of how much this entire thing was eating him from the inside. And to your point, I guarantee you, you're right. When he woke up Sunday, all of that was gone.
Well, to put a button on it, I hope that fans and we can all look at Luck's retirement not through the prism of many people saying how weak it is or how disappointed it is. Hold on a minute. Weak it is, disappointing it is, selfish it might be, and look at it to say, remarkable how many quarterbacks probably go through the same damn thing and play at this level and for as long as they have. And I think maybe we should just use this as a prism to just see how much body, blood, sweat, and tears does get put on the line every single Thursday, Monday, or Sunday on the Red Zone through your television sets, and the car crashes that happen, as Howie Long has described it. Pro Football Hall of Famer has described every single play being a car crash in the NFL. Perhaps that's the way we can all look at it. Before I let you go, you mentioned how you are the play-by-play voice of preseason Rams football. And I will turn to you, the latest Rams insider, if you will. Can you tell me what the hell happened with Todd Gurley's knee last year?
Sure.
And what it bodes for 2019, Andrew Siciliano?
Absolutely. I can tell you what I know, and I don't think people are lying to me. There is no super secret story here. They're not hiding anything from the world in any way, shape, or form. Todd Gurley, the last 3 years, has been on the field, not taking the ball, but been on the field for 70% of the Rams snaps. 70. More yards from scrimmage, touchdowns, touches than any other back in the National Football League. Last year, he did get banged up. They sat him down 2 games in December. Remember, he came back against the Cowboys and had 100 yards in that playoff game, and he was fine. But he had the wear and tear of any workhorse running back down the stretch. When you take into account his knee injury coming out of college. They need to lessen the load. NBA, load management.
I understand that.
They
but
need that.
Weeks 13 through 17, where I understand they kept him out.
Right.
And then riding a bicycle during portions of the NFC Championship
I think
game.
Sean McVay would admit that he probably, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, probably had a little bit of a quick hook in New Orleans. Now, Todd Gurley misplayed 2 balls. I believe he had a drop pass on 3rd down and maybe a fumble. But either way, the first 2 drives, the first quarter in New Orleans, not his finest quarter. McVay probably had a bit of a quick hook then. They won that game.
They did.
Jared Goff, lights out in that game. His best performance. Forget about the Chiefs game, the Vikings game. That game was his masterpiece. Nothing went well in the Super Bowl. Now, I sound like an excuse maker here. I realize if you take away the holding call on John Sullivan in the 4th quarter that wiped out a 20-yard Todd Gurley gain, which sets them up on that final drive to potentially finally get in the end zone, his numbers look a lot different. But I'm with you. Nothing went well that night against Bill Belichick at the Super Bowl.
So what about 2019?
I think he is going to be fine. I think he's going to be dynamic. If you're asking from a fantasy perspective, no, I will. I'll tell you, they want to lessen the load, and that is why they went and got Darrell Henderson. He'll be the Alvin Kamara to the Mark Ingram, or they need a guy to lessen the load and come in on 3rd down or get 10 carries. Todd Gurley's going to have 1,000 yards. He's going to have double-digit touchdowns. He's going to be a wow player. I don't know that he's going to be 1,800 yards and 17 touchdowns because they don't want to give him that kind of workload.
Andrew Siciliano on both Twitter and Instagram, and, of course, catch him for season 15 of him being the host of the Red Zone
Screaming
channel
at television.
And yes, indeed. Get a free preview of DirecTV Sunday Ticket Max on September the 8th. All your out-of-market games. DirecTV Red Zone with this man. And DirecTV Fantasy Zone, no cost for week 1 of the NFL season. Go to directv.com to subscribe. Great to see you, brother. Good to
Likewise.
see you.
Thanks for having me.
Peter King and Ryan Leaf on all these subjects and more. But when we come back, your phone calls and, yes, a little bit of what I experienced at Chavez Ravine this weekend.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, everybody. Chavez Ravine. It was 1 billion degrees, and the Yankees wore all black uniforms, and I'm going to go full Costanza on you when we come back on The Rich Eisen Show.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live or download The Rich Eisen Show app.